Things are gonna get crazy!
Most everyone's mad here.
Peaches, 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 peaches. Love you. Oh, yeah. Welcome back, everyone, to AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. Yes, after a little bit of a delay. Oh, and what great timing for a little subscription there. Thank you, TK. But yes, after 1 week where I decided to go and take a break because, well, I wasn't here, I was on vacation, I have finally returned. Oh, we got another subscriber. Thank you, King Cerulean. With that said, I am definitely excited to be back over here and get back onto the action of this podcast because, oh my God, we're getting more and more subscriptions happening. And already starting off with a hype train with J Monty subscribing, KS19 subscribing. Holy crap. This is insane. Wow, we really are starting big on this episode. But anyways, as I was saying, I just went through what is so far 2 of the most eventful weeks of my year. Like, I started off on a trip to Walt Disney World, which, well, as you can see from my t-shirt, this is pretty much proof that I've recently been there, since they are, like, now it's Disney World's turn to really go and start things off with the festivities of the 100 years of the Walt Disney Company. But then, right when I came back, like, I would say on the, immediately the day after I returned from my vacation, I went through nearly 48 hours of a blackout, or just a full-on power outage caused by an ice storm. It was just absolutely insane, but I did eventually manage to get my power back, and then I had other stuff that I had to go and do. You know, I had to go and, spend time with friends because one of them had a birthday, and then I also have to spend time with family because we were having an Easter dinner. So honestly, my schedule was just jam-packed with so much madness, but now we could go and cap all that off with an episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. And let me tell you, do we have a major episode going on? I mean, we're already starting off great with a hype train, but also we got some major stories to go and talk about and some big name animation trailers to go and check out. So let's not waste any more time. I would like to now go into the chat wall, and I would like to ask you all, are you ready for today's episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast? Let me hear it, folks. Are you ready? Let's see now. Are people prepared now? Okay, I see. Hey, if we could keep the hype train going, that would also be really awesome as well. That would be a great indicator to show that you are prepared. All right, but I see that so far, people are all ready for this. That is wonderful to see. And with that said and done, it is now time that we shall go and get things started. And as you probably heard right at the beginning, I have started this off with a little bit of a reference to what is so far the biggest movie of 2023, the Super Mario Brothers movie. Yes, the wait is finally over. The movie is finally released in theaters, and man, did it leave a big impact. And this is probably the first time in a long time that we've seen an animated film make a big introduction to itself. So much so that this is honestly the first time in a long time that I've done this in this podcast, but it has done some big numbers at the box office. Yes, during its opening week, and I mean, technically there is the opening weekend as well, but technically, it did open up on April 5th, which was on a Wednesday, so that's why I'm calling it an opening week, but whatever. So far, its introduction was big, and man, are theaters packing up because of this movie right here. Now, before anything, I would like to go into the specific numbers. So, reading from my source here on Box Office Mojo, right now, the Super Mario Brothers movie has a domestic total of $204.6 million. It has an international number of 173 million, and its worldwide total is $377.6 million. And from there, Mario has managed to break so many major records and already placed itself high in many different box office levels. So from here, in terms of the domestic numbers, which by the way, these records that I'll be reading here, they all come from my source on Variety. It states that domestically, it has the highest grossing debut of 2023, surpassing Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, at which that movie did 106.1 million. And by the way, just on a quick side note, it has also broken all of the other Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania records, including the biggest opening internationally of 2023, and also the biggest global opening of 2023. So that's one thing that I would like to go and highlight. But anyways, other than that, there's also the biggest 5-day from Wednesday to Sunday opening of all time, overtaking 2009's Transformers Revenge of the Fallen at $200 million. By the way, just a quick note, this stat is specifically for movies that open on a Wednesday. It is nowhere near the biggest opening weekend in general, which belongs to Avengers Endgame, Spider-Man No Way Home, and Infinity War at their $250 million plus start over 3 days. Then there was also the highest grossing debut for Illumination, beating 2015's Minions and its 3-day opening weekend of 115.7 million. It has also gotten the second biggest debut ever for an animated movie, outpacing 2016's Finding Dory and its 3-day opening weekend of 135.1 million, and following Incredibles 2 and its 3-day debut of $183 million. And technically, some people could also say that maybe Mario is the third biggest debut, but that depends if you count 2019's The Lion King as an animated movie. Then there is also the highest grossing debut for a video game adaptation, outranking 2022's Sonic the Hedgehog 2 at 72.1 million. Internationally, the other records that it broke is the second biggest animated opening of all time, behind Frozen 2 at 228.2 million. It has also gotten the biggest Illumination opening internationally of all time, and the biggest video game opening internationally of all time. Now, globally, it has the biggest opening of 2020. Oh, no, I know, I've already mentioned that, sorry. The highest Illumination opening of all time, passing 2013's Despicable Me 2 at 208 million. The biggest video game opening of all time, eclipsing 2016's Warcraft at 210 million. And the highest animated opening weekend ever for IMAX at 21.6 million. So yeah, the opening that Mario has done, it is massively huge. And with the exception maybe of Minions: The Rise of Gru last year, it has been quite a long time since we've seen an animated film making a tremendous amount of money at the box office. Not since Frozen 2 that we've seen a movie that is a hit of this caliber. And really, in terms of its success, I think it really does, like, the credit to that belongs to two things specifically. And I'll just go and say right now, it's because of those two things that, honestly, the fact that Mario is breaking these numbers is not really that surprising. Number one, belongs to the marketing. Now, I've said this in the past before, but I personally believe that Illumination are the masters of marketing when it comes to animation. They know how to market their features more than any other studio out there. More so than DreamWorks, more so than Sony, even more so than Disney and Pixar. Like, they are the absolute masters, and they know how to market with them. And I gotta say, their marketing with what they've done with Nintendo is absolutely admirable. Because unlike any other animated feature, Mario had the advantage of the Nintendo Directs. And rather if you are a gamer or not, you're probably aware of how the Nintendo Directs, they are a major deal when they show up, especially on the internet. Like, whenever there's a Nintendo Direct happening, that's often the biggest subject that people on Facebook, on Twitter, or whatever, that they would go and immediately talk about. To hear about all the biggest announcements and all the biggest reveals that Nintendo had in... Ooh, excuse me. There we go. It's just my lunch, not immediately cooperating, but anyways, the biggest thing about all this is that, yeah, with Nintendo Direct, like, they can be a major deal. So with the so when Illumination collaborated with Nintendo, like, not just for like a short amount of time, but like in a span of a few years, every single announcement that they would make about the Mario movie, they made sure to make it a significant highlight, to make it a big deal. Even to the point that they brought in Shigeru Miyamoto, one of the pioneers of video games, to come in and discuss about all the big announcements that they would do with the Super Mario movie, giving out like whatever updates that they would do, like even if it's just small, like the big cast reveal with Chris Pratt, Charlie Day, Anya Taylor-Joy, Jack Black, Seth Rogen, and more. Then there's also the release date that they would go and make a big deal, which originally was supposed to be for Christmas of 2022, but then, well, they delayed that to April. And even all the trailers, like, they devoted entire Nintendo Directs just to go and show the trailers, and that is it. And people, especially influencers on social media, they would go and try to make a big event out of this. Like, they themselves would go and stream their reactions to it. So with that, so in a way, they kind of combined gaming culture to go and help promote this movie. And that's what really helped build up the hype over the years to make people more and more excited to see what Illumination had in store. And this isn't just for like moviegoers, but especially for gamers to really tap into that market and to enter into their zone in order to highlight what they got with their movie. Whether it be with the little piece of info that they would have in the feature about who's going to be working on it, or even in terms of the trailers, they know how to go and immediately present them. So honestly, that is one thing that I gotta say that this movie should be applauded for, is regarding its marketing, because it's absolutely genius with the way that they collaborated with Nintendo in order to go and present the movie. Like, they know how to really go and hype this up as much as they would with Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, with every single announcement of each character that's going to be coming out and really making people excited about it. They did the same thing and the same kind of treatment with the movie, and that is how it resulted in people to get excited and to make them hyped up to go and actually see the movie for themselves. So that's one major part of how it became a massive success. It's because of the collaboration of Illumination and Nintendo in terms of their marketing. But then there is also another factor, and this might be a little bit of a controversial explanation, but I'll do the best I can in order to go and explain myself. But a big reason why the Super Mario movie is the massive success that we are seeing today is because it is made by Illumination Entertainment. Now, say what you will about Illumination Entertainment as an animation studio. say what you will about the movies that they would go and produce, whether it be the Despicable Me films or the Sing movies or even the Secret Life of Pets or whatever. Say what you will about them. But more than any other studio, Illumination Entertainment had made, they have pretty much made a signature in order to make crowd pleasers. That what Illumination does, especially in recent years, like especially with the last movies that they have made, like Sing 2 and Minions: The Rise of Gru, they don't go and make movies in order to go and please the critics. Like, they don't make movies in order to really make them look like avant-garde filmmakers in order to get those 10 out of 10s or 5 stars or whatever. They don't do that. They don't even make movies for animation fans. Like, they're not catering to that little niche market because they know that, well, animation fans at times can be uptight. And I mean, even we as animation fans, you gotta admit, that is kind of true, you know? We can be a bit uptight at times, and our standards might be a little bit higher than usual. So with that said, Illumination doesn't make movies in order to please the critics or for the animation fans. What Illumination does is that they make movies for the general public. They focus more on delivering what audiences want to see from the movies that they would go and create, rather it be with the Minions or the Secret Life of Pets or with Sing. They are aware of what audiences enjoy from their feature films, and they do what they can in order to go and deliver that. Even if the movies themselves are not like admirably great or they're not major award contenders and stuff like that, their big goal is that they want to go and give audiences a good time. And that is the big thing about Illumination that makes them one of the biggest animation studios today and possibly Disney's biggest rival in the medium, is because Illumination doesn't focus on making great movies. They focus on giving people a great time. And that's what most people actually want to see. That's kind of the big reason why people want to go and watch movies. Like, they don't care about the artistry in themselves, or most people don't really care about the artistry that really goes into the movies. Like, if the movies themselves can provide them with a great time, then they're definitely going to enjoy it. And that's what Illumination does. That's why there are so many people who do love the Minions, Despicable Me, Sing, and The Secret Life of Pets, because they focus more on giving people a good time. And it's the same thing with Mario. You know, I'm just going to say it right now. I don't really think it's a great movie. And there are some things that I think are kind of weak, including the writing. I don't find it to be that good. And I still don't think that Chris Pratt is a good choice to play as Mario. I mean, like, yeah, the acting he does in there, like, it's good, it's fine, but he still sounds like Chris Pratt. He still sounds like Emmett. So honestly, I still find that to be a bad casting choice. But did I have fun watching it? Oh, absolutely. I had a blast. In fact, I'll even say right now, I already watched this movie twice. You know, it's the kind of movie that does have that rewatchability that you could go in again and like you can kind of just turn off your brain and just really have fun with it. It's not the kind of movie that's meant to be analyzed or to really be thought-provoking or expect a lot of like substance onto it. It's a movie that's meant to be fun, to deliver what people want to see in a Mario movie, and I can guarantee you that Illumination definitely delivered on that. I would even go as far and say that not even DreamWorks, nor Sony, not even Disney and Pixar would be able to do what Illumination would go and do, because Illumination has their own signature style of filmmaking. And maybe it's not highly favored by movie fans and animation fans, but it is definitely favored by the general public. And because the Mario movie was made by Illumination, it already establishes that major trust from the public. They trust that Illumination can make something that they can go and enjoy. And that is especially the case with the Mario movie. In fact, I'm sure that with what we are seeing right here, the Mario movie has definitely enabled and really strengthened that trust with the general public, that they can make movies that are worthwhile, and that when they would go and release a movie on the big screen, then that is something that they gotta go and watch. So honestly, at least in my opinion, that's what I think are the two big reasons as to why we are seeing such big box office numbers to the Mario movie, is because of the expertly crafted marketing and because of the fact that it is from Illumination. Now, at this point, the big question is, though, are we going to see the Mario movie really flourish? Are we going to see those box office numbers really rise to the point that maybe it's going to be one of the biggest even one of the highest grossing animated movies of all time? Honestly, I feel like that remains to be seen. Like, I'll say right now, I think it is a guarantee that the Mario movie is definitely going to be ranking up so much money at the box office to the point where every time you go, you know, like you go into this link of the Super Mario movie on Box Office Mojo and all you see is just... And I'm just going to say right now, I think it is a guarantee that the Super Mario Brothers movie will make over $1 billion at the box office. It's going to be the first animated feature since Frozen 2 that it will be able to go and do that. Now, will it be able to go and be the highest grossing animated film of all time? That, I think, remains to be seen, especially when we are going to be entering into the summer blockbusters. And trust me, at that time, there's going to be tons of big name movies that are going to be released that honestly, they are definitely gonna go and overshadow the Super Mario Brothers movie. So at that point, I think it remains to be seen if they're gonna reach that amount of money. Like, I personally, like, I'm not saying it's impossible, but I kind of doubt that. But it's for sure that we are going to see the Mario movie hit more than $1 billion at the box office. And honestly, with the amount of fun that it did give me and a lot of like hilarious, memorable moments, I think honestly, this is definitely something that is a record that it absolutely deserves. So honestly, congratulations to the team at Illumination and Nintendo for the massive hit that they got with the Super Mario Brothers movie. And we will see how it goes in the future. We'll see how much more it can go and make, because I will definitely keep an eye out on that. All right, so with that said, I would like to go into the chat wall, and I would like to ask you all, how much do you think that the Mario movie is going to make? Do you think it's really going to be breaking numbers to become one of the highest grossing animated films of all time? Do you think it's going to pass over $1 billion? And do you think it deserves to make all that money? Let me know what you think on that. All right, let's see now. Woohoo! Let's go. I had lots of fun with this good adaptation of Super Mario. I actually watched it on IMAX with the family. The movie has unleashed a lot of coins at the box office. I'm really happy that the Mario movie was becoming a financial success, considering Nintendo's future plans. Could you see Kirby, Splatoon, Zelda, or Animal Crossing get films in the future? This is going to be a new era for Nintendo and Illumination Entertainment. All right. Let's see. The Mario movie is, in my opinion, Illumination's best film to date. I already saw it twice, and yeah, this is deserved. At this rate, a sequel's gonna be in order. It's inevitable. Maybe they'll incorporate elements from Mario Party, who knows? All I know is that I'm gonna have fun to watch it. Also, during Bowser's song, I can't be the only one who heard Bowser saying, "Bitches! Bitches!" at one point. Honestly, I can confirm that you are not. There's actually one of my friends who actually said the same thing, that like when he would screech out peaches, it did sound like beaches. So honestly, no, I can assure you, you're not the only one. Oh boy. What else do we have here? Oh, and one more thing I just want to say. Yeah, I think it's pretty much confirmed that we are going to see a sequel to this. I think there's going to be a lot more Mario movies to come from Illumination. Let's see now. First, Mario conquered the world of video games, and now he shows that he could conquer the box office as well. Illumination playing it safe with its movies does also help out with the success, as it can be acceptable for people who are either familiar or unfamiliar with Mario. Who knows? It might even be the first movie to get $1 marillion at the box office. But yeah, I've heard a lot of people really give crap and give a lot of hate to Illumination because of the fact that they play it safe. But then, like, I get it. Like, you know, there's not really that much surprises, or it's not as exciting when a company would go and make a safe movie. But then again, there's nothing wrong with playing it safe. And sometimes movies that are safe are, you know, sometimes they're worthwhile. And that's what and it's with that safety that gives people confidence that they know they can expect a good time, because like sometimes that predictability and like that assurance of safety is what people want to go and see. Like, it'll give them more confidence to go and immediately say, all right, 1 ticket to the Illumination movie, please. Let's see what else we got. As someone who saw the movie over the weekend and had a blast watching it, these records aren't that surprising. Between the hype surrounding it and the positive word of mouth, it was guaranteed to do well. And it still has a few weeks to continue collecting money until Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 comes out. And I think there is a strong chance it's going to make over $1 billion at the box office. And I think a sequel is a guarantee considering the post-credit scene. Oh yeah, exactly. And that's a major thing. Like, not only is it going to be a while until the next blockbuster movie is going to be released, but it's also going to be a while until the next big name animated feature is going to be coming out. I think like the next one from here is going to be what? It's going to be Elemental from Pixar. Or no, not even that. It's going to be Spider-Verse. And that one is not going to be coming out until June. So Mario still has a long time to go and collect some money. So we will see how that goes. But that's going to be a significant factor on how it's going to go in the long run. Let's see. Honestly, good. I did tweeted this, but I absolutely love the Super Mario Brothers movie so much. Feels like it was definitely made for Nintendo fans like me and other gamers. Gorgeous animation, Princess Peach, and the voice acting is great. Hopefully this will encourage more people to watch more animated films this year after the last 3 years of slump at the box office. Safe to say that this year will truly be an amazing year for animation. This is so far my favorite Illumination movie. You know, honestly, I would say I kind of still prefer the first 2 Despicable Me movies. But I do agree this is definitely one of Illumination's better films, and definitely one that like I've had the best time with overall. I think I'm gonna go and read 2 more comments before we jump into the first break and our next story. Let's see now. I'm so happy about this. I saw the Super Mario Brothers movies twice this past weekend, and I enjoyed it a lot. I knew it was going to be huge at the box office, but the fact that it is breaking all these records is just insane. This is not only amazing news for movie theaters, but also more proof that animated films can be a serious powerhouse at the box office. Overall, congratulations to Universal, Illumination, and Nintendo for this absolutely phenomenal and well-deserved start. Oh, absolutely. Well, I mean, like, especially with animation at the movie theaters, like, it shouldn't just be the Super Mario Brothers movie that deserves credit. I think Illumination in general, because keep in mind that Minions: The Rise of Gru did the same thing last year, where it it didn't make it to $1 billion, but it was absolutely close. All right, I'll read one more before we go and move on. There we go. It shouldn't be a surprise to see the Mario movie do well at the box office, including breaking box office records. Sure, the film is okay and definitely crowd-pleasing too, and I enjoyed it as well, despite not Oscar-worthy level with its strong reactions from audience than critics. It shows that it will do great, including $1 billion, but as long as it's fun, then it should be fine. At least it's doing great at the box office. Exactly. Maybe it's not the best movie, but it definitely is a fun movie, just like most of the other Illumination films, and that's why it's a major hit. All right, so with that said, we are going to go into our first break right now. And when we do come back, we're going to be jumping from one highly anticipated animated feature to the next highly anticipated animated film. And one that I've already mentioned, actually. And we are back. Now, when it comes to our next story, we are going to be looking into trailers. Yes, folks, I've already seen the chat wall say it, but it is indeed trailer time. And the first one that I have here, well, actually, before we get into it, it's kind of funny to mention that while I was out on vacation, there seemed to be a whole bunch of big name trailers that came out. Last week, while I was at Walt Disney World, or the week before, technically, there were just a whole bunch of them that came out, including Elemental and even the third Trolls movie, which I remember catching the Trolls trailer on my first viewing of the Mario movie, and that one, let's just say that I don't think DreamWorks is going to have another big hit on the levels of Puss in Boots: The Last Wish and The Bad Guys. Or at least that's just me from my impression on that trailer. But the week after that, though, another trailer came out. And this one, oh boy, speaking of breaking records, already the trailer over here is actually breaking records. And I heard apparently some people even say that it is one of the most watched trailers of all time that is based on a superhero movie. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and check out the trailer for what is the next most anticipated animated film that's going to be coming out this year, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Oh, wait. More? Oh, okay, never mind. Yes, that was Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, to which it will finally be released pretty soon on June 2nd. Now, one thing that I can go and say is that I know that a little similar to the Super Mario Brothers movie, the hype really is on for this one, especially when this was a movie that had been delayed again and again and again, part of which is because of the pandemic. And one thing that I know is that, considering that we are closer to the official release, that we know there ain't going to be any more delays at this point, I did see, now we're at the point where merchandising is eventually coming out. I know there were, a few action figures that were already released, but I did see some, believe it or not, at Disney World, I actually did see some official Spider-Verse merch. But, not just, Into the Spider-Verse, but literally stuff that's promoting Across the Spider-Verse, actual Disney pins dedicated to Spider-Verse, believe it or not. But then again, not that surprising, considering that Disney is the one that handles the marketing of all the Spider-Man stuff. So if Disney wants to go and, make some merch for Spider-Verse, they can definitely go and do that. Or maybe, I'm wrong on that, or I don't know. I know, the copyright stuff with the Spider-Man movies are very complicated, but that's another story. But the fact is, I remember when I was at Epcot, I did see some official Across the Spider-Verse pins that were made by Disney. But anyways, going back into this, however, this, honestly, I feel like this is the first true trailer that we have gotten. Not to say that the other trailers weren't bad or anything, they were still pretty awesome, but those felt more like teasers, that they introduced us to small aspects of what would be to come with Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. But this, however, feels like it gives me a good idea of what this movie is going to be. This tells me what Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is about to be. And man, let me tell you, dudes, this trailer delivers. Oh man, honestly, I feel like every single thing you would want from a Spider-Verse movie, this trailer gives you all of that, but just in a little taste. It doesn't immediately come out to go and reveal everything that's going on. This isn't the kind that it reveals the entire plot line in just 2 minutes. It's not like that at all. Honestly, this is giving us the promise of what we really do want to see. In the beginning, you do see elements of family drama. You see how the relationship between Miles and his parents are. Now that Miles has found himself as Spider-Man, you could see how the relationship between his parents can be a little bit rocky. I know there are going to be some tender moments, because the last trailer we did see that speech with Miles's mother. But then as you continue forward, now we do see there are some parts that can be a little bit complicated, especially probably the biggest screw up that Miles Morales has done, even more so than anything that he has done in Into the Spider-Verse, is this.
Things are going great.
Oh yeah, you were supposed to be here at 5.
All right, whatever.
Whatever.
Oh, you do not say whatever to your mom. That's just an absolute no thing that you can do. Oh man. Now that is something that you could tell that it just messed up. So like there are elements of family drama and really going into in which it will really highlight the personal life of Miles Morales, which, you know, that's definitely going to be cool to see. But then of course you do get all the other Spider-Mans. Like now we're going to be going into and this is probably the meat of this entire feature, is what they are going to present in terms of what it means to be a Spider-Man. Like this is in a way going to be like this big analysis of like what is a Spider-Man and how does one become a Spider-Man. And one thing that they go and heavily emphasize is regarding the fact that every single Spider-Man needs to go and make a sacrifice in order to become that Spider-Man. And for a good chunk of them, it's because of the death of Uncle Ben. But with Miles Morales, it looks like they're highlighting that he hasn't made a sacrifice yet and doesn't want to. And it looks like they really want, and like from what they are hinting out, it looks like the sacrifice that they need to go and make might be Miles's dad. That looks like what they're preluding into. But honestly, that's one thing that I would say, like, hold on a minute. Like, it feels a little bit conflicting because, like, I remember in the first Spider-Verse, like, technically Miles did, he did have a sacrifice. Like, I'm wondering, like, maybe the movie will bring this up, but what about the aspect of Uncle Owen? Like, when Miles discovered that Uncle Aaron, sorry about that. Like, when Uncle Aaron turned out, like, when he was actually the Prowler, and then suddenly Uncle Aaron ended up being dead. Like, wouldn't that be considered Miles' sacrifice? Like, I don't know why, like, Miles would need another one. Like, that's one thing that I do hope that this movie can go and actually address, because I would argue that, well, technically Miles is already a Spider-Man because he already had a sacrifice of a beloved uncle. Like, you know, like, it may not be Uncle Ben, but I mean, like, still there, you know, it is an uncle that that Miles was very much attached to. So I don't know, like, maybe there will be that there will be that aspect that they will go and address. But still, though, that element of drama that they are adding, you know, it does seem very fascinating. And not to mention, like, the big thing that's going to supply a lot of the action that is going on, where you see, like, Miles just running from it, or, you know, just running away from everyone. Sorry, let me just go and mute that. But yeah, like, you see just Miles getting away from everyone. Oh, and also, here's another thing that, like, I gotta say is also hilarious. You know, like, now we got the humor. Like, that's another thing that they're gonna go and promise, is that we're gonna see a lot of, you know, like, you got a promise, like, not too much, but we are going to have a little bit of humor, especially this thing. Like, I know, like, this joke has been repeated again and again, but this one I feel like is just a lot more hilarious because of the whole setup of, like, we need to go and catch Spider-Man. But, like, which one are you talking about? Because, like, literally everyone in this world is godforsaken Spider-Man, so everyone is just like, do we need to catch you? Is it you? I don't think I did anything wrong, but is it you? Or another hilarious thing, like, even at the end, when we see that therapy aspect, like, I was like, and then suddenly, oh yeah, let me guess, you saw Uncle Ben and he died. Like, that was another thing that was a lot of fun. So the promise of the humor is, you know, that's definitely great. Like, you know, maybe this movie didn't necessarily need it, but it's like, it's one of those aspects that's, like, very welcome. You know, the best way to describe it, it's like the Peaches musical number in the Super Mario Brothers movie. Did the film needed that? No. But does it make the film better with it? Honestly, yes. And I feel like it's the same thing with this trailer. Did this trailer need humor? Honestly, not really, but I could see, yeah, it does. And I mean, there's definitely other aspects that you see, like a bit of a promise of other things. You know, this isn't just always going to be about Miles, but we also got, you know, some promise that we're going to see some updates in regards to Gwen, where we see she, you know, like when they talked about, oh, like everybody needs a sacrifice. Well, I mean, she went through a sacrifice as well when there was one Spider-Man that passed away. And then we also got another update specifically from Peter B. Parker, in which not only did he manage to get back with Mary Jane, but also they got a kid as well. So at least like we got, you know, we got that nice little update. I mean, I really do like Peter B. Parker, you know, definitely one of my favorite Spider-Mans in the movie. So that is nice. But yeah, honestly, the big thing that I want to go and emphasize is that in this trailer, man, do they deliver so much into it. And so far, like what they are showing to us, like they have been awesome again and again and again. Now, I will say, though, there is one thing that is, you know, that I feel like it didn't stick the landing as well as others. And that is technically in regards to the villain. Like, I think that's the one thing that I feel like is a little bit weak in this feature. And that's specifically the Spot. Because, like, I know that technically we didn't really see a whole lot of the Spot in this movie, like, or in this trailer specifically. Like, it's only in this, like, one little moment at the beginning, and that's it. But then again, when you do see the concept art that has been released, like, we do see the Spot, like, as, like, a very intimidating and, like, a very worthy foe for Miles Morales. Like, someone who is going to be legitimately the villain. But in here, he just feels a little bit more like some goofy comic relief. I feel like the villain of who they are presenting here in Across the Spider-Verse feels a little bit like a downgrade compared to Into the Spider-Verse with Kingpin. Now, I know that what I'm asking is like a very tall order because Kingpin is a tremendous villain. Like, they really did a great job handling him in that movie and presenting him as like a very tough opponent for all the Spider-Mans. And not to mention someone whom could debatably be the best screen adaptation of Kingpin. But honestly, like, yeah, maybe like it could be asking too much to ask for like, oh, I want to see another Kingpin style villain. But I don't know, like, I'm not fully convinced that the Spot is going to be like, you know, I'm not convinced this guy is going to be filling Kingpin's shoes. And maybe like we'll see more of him in the future. But for now, I'm not really that convinced that, you know, that there's going to be a great villain featured in Across the Spider-Verse. But other than that, though, I would say in terms of everything else, man, do they nail it. It's so far really awesome. And by the way, thank you for that subscription, DJ. So far from what I've been seeing, like the animation, absolutely awesome. It does feel like they're continuing the tradition of what they did in the first film, and they're going to be adding up to, you know, they're going to be adding more into that. The action feels like it's going to be big. It's going to be intense. There's going to be a lot of that like psychological and family aspect. So it definitely feels like there's going to be a lot of heart. So honestly, when it comes to this Spider-Verse trailer, this is awesome. I think Sony definitely did a fantastic job giving us a great impression with this. And for me, I feel like it's really going to build a lot more hype to this. So with all that said, if you are excited to go and check out Across the Spider-Verse, then keep in mind that the movie is going to be released on June 2nd. And with that said, I would like to go into the chat wall and I want to ask you all, what did you think of the trailer of Across the Spider-Verse? Does it make you more excited about it? What is it that really like stand out for you in this trailer? Let me know what you all think on this. All right, let's see what we got. I'm still super excited to watch Across the Spider-Verse. The animation is spectacular, the characters are great, and the humor is really hilarious, especially a lot of Spidey people pointing at each other, the spot, and the ending. This trailer really delivers a lot on the goodies that will be featured in the movie. I'm super hyped to watch it when it comes out. I bet this will make big bucks during summer, like with Mario movie and possibly Elemental. Ooh, I don't know. You know, that's one thing that I am not sure. Like, as great as this trailer is, it's gonna be hard to imagine that this movie is really going to be a major hit at the box office. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, like, I would love this to be a big hit, but it's just, how well is this movie gonna do amongst the massive competition, you know, against the Little Mermaid remake, against Elemental, against The Flash, against Indiana Jones? Like, there's going to be so many big name movies that are going to fight in order to get audiences' attention. So is Spider-Verse really going to go and do that well? That remains to be seen. I don't know. Like, I'll definitely be rooting for it, but I don't know. Like, I'm just thinking realistically that, oh boy, Miles is going to have a tough road ahead. I mean, like, yeah, facing all those Spider-Mans is one thing, but facing all those big name movies, oh boy, that's going to be another major challenge right there. Let's see now. If the first Spider-Verse was hype, then this is super hype. Not only are we still getting the incredible animation, but the story and characters look like it will be a lot more interesting, with the focus of Miles wanting to make his own path instead of the path everyone tells him to go, which might lean towards that Miguel O'Hara being the actual antagonist instead of the Spot. But one question does still remain. What did Miles do to get every single Spider-Man chasing after him? Well, I mean, from my guess, I think it's the sacrifice aspect, from what I'm guessing, that Miles didn't have a true sacrifice, so they want him to have like some sort of sacrifice, or like they got to go and kill someone close to him so that he could truly be considered a Spider-Man. You know, that feels like the major thing. And I don't know, like, I know some people are saying Miguel O'Hara is going to be the villain in Across the Spider-Verse, but I don't know. Like, maybe he'll have an antagonistic role, but there is a part of me that does feel like maybe there is like, he's gonna be like one of those misunderstood people. Like, he's gonna be one of those that will have some sort of redemption. Like, he's not going to be like he's not going to take like the full-on bad guy role in comparison to like Kingpin. But then again, I could totally be wrong. We will have to wait and see on that. Let's see now. Funny story. When I got this trailer before Mario, some kid yells, "Is that Miles?" in the packed trailer. Kid recognizes peak. What can I say? Yeah, this looks absolutely fantastic. The animation looks absolutely wicked. I got a huge laugh out of the Spider-Man's pointing joke, and Miguel O'Hara is pretty threatening. Also, let's be real. One major improvement the Spot has over Kingpin, he can wipe his own ass. Let's go. Oh my. Yeah, I guess that is true. Oh boy, it's funny because, like, when you look into the original Spider-Verse, like, that is always the one enigma. It's like, how can Kingpin do anything, especially with like how his body is built? Like, how does he go to the bathroom? But then again, the less I know, the better. Or even worse, like, how did he even have a kid with a normal woman? Like, that is a bigger mystery right there. Oh, let's see, what else do we have here? Spider-Verse 2 is definitely, and somewhat ironically, my most anticipated non-Disney movie of the year. With imitations like Puss in Boots 2 and Mutant Mayhem cropping up, Spidey is back to remind the world why he changed the game. This trailer blew me away and shows how much Sony has grown since the first one. Oh my god, yeah, no denial there. Let's see. Dude, what the hell did Miles do to not only for all the spider people chasing him and taking away his shoes and gloves, but for Miguel to run in fours? Probably due to Miles having two alive and healthy parents, and the others don't. Joking aside, this movie looks so bonkers with the storyline Animation is some next level beautiful. The concept of the Spot figuring out his powers and everything else, with Beyond the Spider-Verse being the part 2 of Across, I can't even imagine how they'll top this. I know, like, so many people would even say that like, it's hard, like, they cannot imagine how they could go and top Into the Spider-Verse, but honestly, I feel like there's a possibility Across the Spider-Verse can. Like, I think this could be the movie that really will go and show, like, yeah, there are ways that you could go better than Spider-Verse. Let's see, what else do we got? What other comments? Oh boy, this trailer gets me so many hype. Like I mentioned before, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is my #1 favorite non-Disney animated feature due to its innovative animation and great message. So this is my hype animation film of 2023 alongside Wish. I wanted to see Spider-Gwen again. You'll definitely have Spider-Gwen, that's for sure. Let's see. Yes, give me more Sony. I can't wait to see Spider-Verse this summer. I'm sure it will be as amazing as the first film. We truly are going to have an amazing summer this year. That animation is as amazing as ever. The jokes are funny. That MCU reference was a nice surprise since it is now canon to the MCU. Hopefully, it is amazing. Oh yeah, like, I wonder, is it actually, like, is that what they refer to with Doctor Strange? Is it because of that thing? That would actually be interesting, honestly. Like, I want to see the Spider-Verse films have a true connection with the MCU. In fact, I heard, like even a friend of mine actually told me that there actually is that connection when you go to Avengers Campus at Disneyland, where when you go into the Spider-Man ride, one of the lockers is actually from Miles, and it has that same kind of decor from Spider-Verse. So honestly, like, you know what? I would definitely be down. Why not bring, finally, let's actually have a good Sony Spider-Man movie be a part of the MCU. I mean, like, if they're going to cram in Venom and Morbius, why not include the good Sony Spider-Man movie as well? All right, I'm going to go and read one more before we move on to the next trailer. I'll go over here, actually. I can't wait for this movie to come out, as this is my most anticipated movie of 2023, and as a big Spider-Man fan, I can't wait for this to deliver a great story, animation, characters, music, and the heart throughout. And if it does big at the box office, according to the most viewed trailer from Deadline, I think it'll do well in this crowded June. I'm surprised it mentions the MCU reference from No Way Home, so I think it'll be cool, given that maybe Holland, Maguire, and Garfield will appear. Who knows? Although, I'm just going to go and make my prediction right now. If they are going to do that, if they are going to be giving us appearances from Holland, Maguire, and Garfield, I don't think we're going to get that in Across the Spider-Verse, but I think we will get that in Beyond the Spider-Verse. I think it's going to be the next movie where it is more likely that we are going to see a much stronger connection between the Spider-Verse films and the MCU. But then again, that's just me. That's just my prediction. All right, so with that said, that definitely was awesome right over there. But now we're going to go into another break, and when we move to the next trailer that we are going to see, well, it's going to have another pattern, because this is another highly anticipated animated project that is partially brought to us by Phil Lord and Chris Miller. But will it have the same hype as Across the Spider-Verse? Well, we'll just have to find out. And we are back. Now, with our next trailer that we have over here, again, this is another animated project that part of which is brought to us by Phil Lord and Chris Miller. Except with this one, though, Lord and Miller are going to be going back to their origins. They're going to go back to the first animated project that they have done that really started their career in animation and in filmmaking. And over the years, as the duo got more and more popularity as filmmakers, this series ended up getting a bigger and bigger cult following, even though it was pretty short-lived. However, but considering that we do live in an age where reboots and bringing back old properties became really popular, MTV decided to step in and decided, let's go and give this show another chance. Give it the long-awaited season 2 after over 20 years being on TV. So with that said, let us now go and check out our next trailer, as we are gonna be... Oh, this is awkward. Hold on, don't worry folks, I do have backup. Let's actually go and check out the trailer for the second season of Clone High, or the teaser, as you will.
Abe, something feels off.
And that is Clone High, to which is going to be coming back on HBO Max this spring. Now, I remember not too long ago, I would say a little over a year ago, I actually did watch the Clone High series. I received a Patreon request to go and check out the show. And honestly, I do see why it did actually get, this major cult following, because it actually is a pretty funny show. I mean, it's pretty simple in its concept, but it did manage to make the most out of its simple concept, and does provide a lot of hilarious moments and a lot of memorable characters as well. So honestly, like, yeah, like, I wouldn't say it's like a great series, like not the most amazing animated show that we have received, but it definitely is one that is a lot of fun. And if you want like stupid adult style comedy, then Clone High I feel like is a pretty good choice actually. But then this trailer came out, and I know there's been a whole lot of discussions, including there was at one point not too long ago that a leak of a work in progress version of the entire first episode was released. And it did bring up a lot of arguments and discussions in regards to how this Clone High is going to be. And I'm just going to say right now, from what I've seen in this trailer, I can definitely recognize the elements of Clone High, where you do have many historical figures that are coming to life, but now they're like high schoolers. And then like you got like the signature characters there, like you got Joan, you got Abe, and of course you got the sex crazed JFK, just being himself. But and also like the tone, like the comedy and the humor, I feel like it does match up to what we got last time. This is the stupid style, adult style humor that we received from last time. However, from what I've seen in here, I feel like there's something that is missing. It's hard to describe, and I don't know what it is, but there's just something about this that I feel like it's missing something that really does feel like it captures the spirit of Clone High, and that it managed to get the comedy, the enjoyability, and like it's missing like what makes people love Clone High in the first place. Because yeah, a lot of what they are showing, like they're emulating what has been done last time, but they didn't necessarily capture it in all the right ways. And it's because of that little concept why I did not really enjoy this teaser. It's not really selling me that the return of Clone High is going to be worth it. Like the humor, I feel like, yeah, it is like the same kind of stupid adult comedy that we got last time, but instead of being stupid but enjoyably funny, it's just stupid. And a lot of these jokes, I feel like they don't really land well. Like one good example is regarding like the moment with Cleopatra just freaking out at one point, like this part.
This is a nightmare. Somebody wake me up.
She's great.
That honestly, it doesn't feel like it worked out. I don't know. There's just something about that joke that, like, I don't know, the timing of it doesn't work. The payoff didn't work out well. It's just none of it just doesn't feel like it even works. And also another thing I want to mention is actually in regards to like the other characters. Now, this is another aspect of controversy, especially with the fact that there is one prominent one that is missing, which I will get to later. But a lot of people would go and also discuss about the new characters that are featured, like who are going to be the new members in the Clone High gang. And apparently the ones that we are getting includes Frida, Harriet Tubman, and Confucius. And one thing to go and note when it comes to those characters is that I've seen a lot of criticism when it comes to the aspect that are new, that they don't really match up with what was already created. Like you could tell like there are people out there who can clearly tell the difference between who are the characters that were originally created from the original show back in the early 2000s and which ones are made for the new season. And yeah, even I'll have to admit that there can be a bit of a clear difference. Like there is one shot, yeah, this one over here. Like you could tell, like you could definitely tell which ones are from the original show, like Abe, JFK, Cleo, and Joan. And then like you got the new ones as well. Like you got you got Frida, you got Harriet, and you got Confucius. And also that's another thing, and like, yeah, you could probably tell that there is a bit of that difference. Like, yeah, I'm sure the designers try to go and emulate the style, but I don't know, there's just something about it that like they didn't capture it 100%. And also another thing that I want to go and add is just there are some characters that honestly I don't really see the comparisons. And what I mean is that I don't see the comparisons to their real, to their historical counterparts. Like, yeah, sure, Frida is definitely recognizable. Like, I could see how this is Frida, but then you got Harriet Tubman and Confucius. I don't know about you, but for me, I feel like Harriet Tubman is the new black girl, and then you got Confucius, who looks like, like the new Asian guy. That's all, that really is all that it tells me. Like, you could name me, like, you could say that, like, this is Aunt Jemima and this is George Takei, and, like, I would just buy it. For me, I just feel like, honestly, they're not necessarily selling on the aspects that, these are those historical figures. Like, that's one thing that I feel like, that I feel like it's a little bit off. Like, at least, like, with the others, like, you could see some of the characteristics. With the others, though, it's like, nah, like, they just added, like an Asian character, they added a black character, they picked a historical figure out of the hat, and they just went from there. So yeah, and like on top of the humor, on top of the animation, and like on top of like the new characters not working out, I think at this point, I think this is actually a good time to go and address the elephant in the room, and that is which character is lacking here. Because out of all the original characters, the one who did not come back is Gandhi. And I remember reading about that because that is actually a pretty wild story. Because for those of you who don't know, Gandhi was one of the more prominent characters in the original season of Clone High. However, Gandhi was also the most controversial character in the show, because a lot of Indians were very much upset of the way that they would go and portray Gandhi, especially with the fact that Gandhi is pretty much the opposite of the real life counterpart, where he's like this sex crazed ADHD party animal. That, that's how they went and presented Gandhi. And of course, like, they got massively upset about that. And that is what put Lord and Miller and the people working on the show in a pretty difficult situation, where some actually argue that it was because of that depiction of Gandhi why the show did not last long. I don't think that is the reason, but it was the one, it was the big that was the big controversy with it. And from what we are seeing in the trailer, it doesn't look like Gandhi is going to be coming back. In fact, from what they are hinting on, it looks like it's going to be Confucius and maybe Frida that's going to take on that role. Like, they are going to be the ones that will be replacing Gandhi. And not to mention, like, there's also technically the sex aspect, but then again, there's like JFK, and I'm sure like he's going to provide a lot of sex for this show. No question about that. But yeah, honestly, overall, I gotta say that, you know, this trailer is not selling me on this show. Like, I don't know, like, maybe it's just me, and I'm sure there are other people out there that are still excited to go and see this, but this teaser is not giving me a good first impression of how the return of Clone High is going to be. The jokes don't really work well. You could tell there is a bit of a distinct difference between what is old and what is new. And the characters, honestly, I feel like they're just like add-ons that, you know, that, I don't know, they don't work out that well, and they just feel like they feel like they're just add-ons to be like, oh, let's have a token minority representation, let's have a more prominent Asian character, let's have a more prominent black character onto this. You know, I don't know, like, there's something about it that kind of feels a little bit corporately manufactured than something that is like genuinely crafted to make something that is like awesome and fun. So I don't know, like, maybe I could be proven wrong. Like, maybe when the show does come out that it would actually turn out to be so much better than what I'm leading on to. Like hopefully I'll be proven wrong. But I don't know, from what I'm seeing in this teaser, I don't know, I don't feel that interested to go back to Clone High, honestly. I don't know, it's just, maybe it's just the trailer not giving us a great first impression like with the Spider-Verse trailer, but I don't know, I'm not into it. I'm just like, I don't know, I don't think this is gonna match up to what we got last time. But at least that's just me. But if you are curious to check out how Clone High is going to be, then keep in mind that the show is actually going to be returning on HBO Max this spring. And with that said, I would like to go into the chat wall, and I want to know what you think. How do you feel about this teaser of the upcoming season of Clone High? Do you like, did you enjoy this? Like, do you disagree with me and you actually really like this? And if so, I want to know your thoughts. I want to know, like, what did work out for you, or do you agree with me and this is, this doesn't seem like a good look for it? Let me know what you think on this. All right, let's see what we got. Let's see. I never watched Clone High before, but I must say I'm impressed by how adult the characters sound and having a unique animation style that reminds me of Total Drama Island, but actually for a mature audience. I think most adult animated shows these days are trying to play it safe with bland humor, art styles, trying to copy Rick and Morty and Family Guy. So I hope that in the future more shows can do their own thing with their own unique style and feel. Well, I mean, technically this one doesn't really count because this is like a revival from a show from the early 2000s that already did its own thing. So I mean, like, but I do recommend watching the original Clone High. Like, if you like how this looks, then honestly, please go and check out the original Clone High. Like, you could check it out. It's actually on YouTube. You could go and check it out for free. Like, go on YouTube, write down, watch Clone High full episodes, and it's actually right there. You could actually check it out, no problem. Let's see. While I'm more of a modest fan of Clone High, I do have to admit I didn't get into this as much as the first season. I mean, the designs are still all right, but the animation is a little choppy. Comedy doesn't hit as hard, though nothing will ever top JFK's breakdown with Jones disguising herself as a man, and JFK's voice just feels really off. Man, that's the worst thing to ever happen to JFK. Nothing worse has ever happened to the Kennedys. Oh my god, yeah. Nothing bad happens to the Kennedys! Ah! Oh man, yeah, I think there's no denying, like, JFK definitely is like the standout star of Clone High, and definitely one of the best interpretations. Let's see now. So far on this trailer, I can see the potential for this being a really good revival season for Clone High. I don't think this trailer does justice for the original season, but those new characters like Frida I'm already liking based on the unibrow joke. but I'm still very excited to see the show. I just think this trailer just doesn't do a good job enough to show off the show, but at least the principal and the butler are back. Can't wait to see more of the shenanigans that will happen to them. Yeah, I do agree, actually. I think, like, the best addition or the best new thing that they have done so far based on this trailer is Frida. Like, yeah, that little joke with the unibrow, that, you know, not great, but it definitely is cute. And I could see, like, how she can be, like, this new addition, how she fits in to the Clone High world. In fact, I would even say, like, she definitely fits in to Clone High more so than Confucius and Harriet Tubman. So, honestly, like, that, you know, that is true. That is one positive thing that I will give it to this Clone High trailer. Let's see, what else do we have here? The trailer didn't really impress me. Personally, I never saw the original series, but I won't deny that it has a major fan base. But this just doesn't do it for me. The jokes don't land, the new characters don't seem that great, so overall, I might give it a pass. Yeah, honestly, I definitely do agree. Like, for now, I just feel like it's going to be a pass. I'm just going to wait and see with what the reactions are going to be online. And if they're not good, well, then I'm just going to move on. All right, let's see. What else do we have here? I'm not a fan of the cheaper and stiffer animation, and I already feel the crushing absence of my main man, Gandhi. I agree that there's just something about the show that just feels off in terms of the original series. Like you, I could tell what's from the 2002 Clone High and what's from 2023 Clone High. Also, where's Frida's fire-breathing green monkey? Though this trailer does get points for putting my redhead queen Joan into an army general uniform. Oh boy, oh crap, we got a simper here. yo, everyone, sound the alarms! We got a simper on the premises. We got a simper on the perimeter. But okay, but you know what? I'm not gonna lie. Like, you know, it took me a while, but it is true. Like, yeah, that definitely is Joan. And I mean, I could see how it could do it for some, but I mean, to be fair, like, I've had my fair share of simping. Like, I will admit, like, Joan definitely a hot character. And I mean, yeah, I'm guilty as well for, I'm guilty as well for being into the queen herself. I'm into Cleo. I'm not gonna deny. I mean, it's freaking Cleo. I mean, can you blame me, folks? Okay. Anyways, let's see, what other comments do we have here? I think I get your point when it comes to this trailer. I think maybe because of the lack of charm, missing original writers from last season, and even the animation is not as good to compare as this time is being handled by Shadow Machine instead of Nelvana from before. Not to mention that Gandhi is missing too, which may be a red flag on this. I saw the first season and it was good, so I think it's going to be hard to top what the first season has done. Exactly, yeah. Like, you know, that's the big thing about this trailer, is that there's just something in here that is noticeably missing. There's just something about this that is missing in order to capture that spirit of Clone High, but it's just not there. And maybe it is the fact that it is being done by another animation studio than Nelvana. Maybe it's the fact that Gandhi is missing. But there's just some, or maybe it is the fact that they're not getting the same writers or they're not getting the same animation team as before. But there's just something about it that is different that doesn't match up to the original Clone High. It's just hard to really pinpoint what it is. All right, I think I'm going to read one more comment before we go into the next story. Oh yeah, positive that I like sex. Yeah, I definitely know that feeling. That line did get a laugh out of me. I don't know if you noticed, but I think trailers have mostly sucked lately. I don't know, man. Did you see the last one? Did you just saw what we have seen with Spider-Verse? I'm just saying, trailers can be good. Anyways, I hope they stay funny, but it could be that they need to be more, they needed the more youthful energy of young Lord and Miller. I mean, Miller sounds older as JFK. I hope it's good, but I see more potential in this. Yeah, that is true. I mean, technically Chris Miller is the voice of JFK, and like, you could tell there is a difference. But one thing that will be interesting is how is Phil's voice going to be? Because I know Phil Lord has done several voices in Clone High, including the principal. And I think he's also the voice of Genghis Khan, like that. Or I think it is Genghis Khan. Like you know who I'm talking about. Like the big, just this giant lummox that with a giant smile, like probably slower than the other students, but he's just saying like, yes, like that. I find Genghis Khan has to be the most underrated character of Clone High. I definitely enjoy that guy. Okay, but with that said and done, I think that should do it with our talk with Clone High. If you are curious to go and check it out, then keep in mind it is coming out this spring on HBO Max. And we're going to go into another break, but when we do come back, we are going to go and look into one more trailer, which it actually did come out today. And let me tell you, did it provide a variety? And that's the big thing that it will emphasize: variety. All right, we are back. Now, for our last trailer that we have for you today, this is actually something that came out today, and this is part of the big weekend that did happen in London for Star Wars Celebration. Now, at Star Wars Celebration, they put out a lot of major announcements. They would go and reveal so many big news in terms of the future of Star Wars, rather it be the movies that they are going to go and create, including one of them that will be directed by James Mangold, in which I heard the plot is going to be about the first Jedi from like many years, from like thousands of years ago. And there's also going to be another one in which Rey, played by Daisy Ridley, is going to be coming back in a brand new movie set years after the rise of Skywalker. But then there are other announcements as well, including the Ahsoka series is going to be coming out in August on Disney+. Despite all the news that we have gotten, this is probably the most significant animation news that Star Wars Celebrations has put out. So without further ado, let us now go and check on our next trailer, to which we shall be looking into Star Wars Visions Volume 2. And that is Star Wars Visions Volume 2, to which it will be coming soon on Disney Plus on May 4th. And I am not gonna lie, this trailer over here, this was very impressive. I think, like, I'm gonna say this immediately right now. This looks like it's going to be even better than the first Star Wars Visions, because the first Star Wars Visions, they focus a lot on being an anime and just jumping from one Japanese animation studio to another. But in this one, though, this one, it feels like now there's going to be a very clear, distinct difference between each short that they would go and put out. And honestly, it really feels awesome the way that they would go and really emphasize of like where they, of where these studios are from, and really implement their own storytelling. And that's one thing that I really do love from this trailer, is how these animation studios are so unapologetic about being themselves while telling a Star Wars story. And when it comes to this, by the way, there are some studios that many animation fans can immediately go and recognize, and it's actually really cool that you could tell which ones are which. Like, number one, one animation studio that is a part of this volume is actually Cartoon Saloon. And honestly, you could definitely tell that like their art style is easily implemented, like the just the way that it feels handcrafted, like from the like how the characters are made, the painted backgrounds, like it does deliver a bit of that similar tone from what we had before with films like Song of the Sea, or especially like this is very reminiscent to what they have done last time with Wolfwalkers. And the fact like it, it highlights the story of children, like these kids on their own Star Wars story. Like, of course, that definitely does feel like Cartoon Saloon. But then there's also another one that I find really funny that like you could easily go and spot out, and that is Aardman. The fact that we actually have like the Aardman we have Aardman coming in, and of course, what do they do? A kid-friendly stop-motion cartoon. Like, probably out of all of them, this is the one that is the most comedic, the one that is the most kid-friendly. And like, especially with its use of stop-motion animation, it's like, and not to mention also very British as well. Like, you just hear the characters talking.
Potty off the starting line.
She's a total... Exactly.
Like this, this is definitely, yeah, you could tell that this is undeniably Aardman. And honestly, I don't know if I would want it any other way. Like the fact that they're going to be a little more goofy, the fact that this is something that looks like it's geared more towards kids. I think this is honestly perfect. Like this really does emphasize that we're getting an Aardman thing, and it's okay to have a moment to laugh in like the Star Wars world. So honestly, this one, I feel like this is one of my more anticipated shorts in volume 2. This looks like a lot of fun. Now the other ones I don't really immediately recognize, but there is one that I will say does look familiar, and that is this one. If I could go and take a guess, this one, this one where you see the stormtroopers just hanging out and like, they're just having a drink. I would guess that this is the France one. Like this is the anime, this is going to be from the team that are from France. I know there is a French animation studio that's working on this, and looking at it, this looks like it shares the same art style as Ernest and Celestine. Like a bit of that, like especially with the way that the characters are drawn and that not all the lines are attached together, and it has like, there's a little bit of that like charming simplicity to them. That's what I feel like. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you actually pointed out that it's exactly that. It's Studio La Cachette. Okay, that's who it is. It's exactly, that is actually the French studio that's working on this. This is exactly Studio La Cachette that's actually working on this, and this is another example of how they're unapologetically being themselves. They're really letting their art style flourish, but you could still recognize the aspect that is Star Wars. And then there are others as well that are really awesome. Like, I'll say like the first shot that we got, like the lightsaber battle, that is actually really cool, where you do have a little bit of that Spider-Verse style animation where like it's technically CG, but there is that like extra layer that is very artistic. Like that is really awesome. Like just this part over here, like just look at the animation. It's just flat out gorgeous, especially like when they really do get into the battle and you see like the brush strokes when you see them swinging their lightsabers. Like already this part here looks absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, and someone even brought it up, like this is very similar to what they did before with this is more of a similar style to what they did with Arcane. So honestly, just looking at each of the looking at each of the shorts that they would do, again, honestly, I personally like, I feel like this is definitely going to top what they have done last time, and the goal that they want to establish with Star Wars Visions is going to shine much more through here than in the previous one, because with the first Star Wars Visions, not to say that it's bad, but considering that all of it is anime, that like you're pretty much getting the same thing again and again. You're getting anime content, and like yeah, there are some that are definitely like amazing, but the aspect of variety isn't like really emphasized. Like yeah, it's variety for anime fans, but it doesn't, like, for the general public, for example, who are not that familiar with anime, like they'll mostly see a bit of the same thing. But in here, however, man, they cannot make that more clear. The fact that they would go around the world picking different animation studios and let their art style fully flourish, whether it be Studio La Cachette, whether it be Aardman or Cartoon Saloon or whatever, showing off their animation styles, like regardless of the medium. Like some are doing 2D, some are doing CG, some are doing stop motion, like just fully expressing themselves and putting their personal contribution onto the Star Wars universe is just flat out beautiful. So honestly, I'm actually pretty hyped up for what they have in store here, because so far the anime, like so far all the stories that they are presenting, you know, they look beautiful. The art style, you know, the art style, like it's just fantastic. So personally, this feels like something I want to keep an eye out for. Like, yeah, I know like we're getting a whole bunch of like great content with Star Wars. Even like technically we got season 3 of The Mandalorian that's still going. But this right here, I think this is going to be a great Star Wars highlight, or at least in terms of Star Wars animation. Because so far, like, I'm really impressed with what they've done with the animation. I guess we'll just have to wait and see with what they will also have in store with the stories. So with that said, if you are all excited to go and check out Star Wars Visions Volume 2, then keep in mind that it is going to be coming out on Disney Plus on May 4th. All right, so with that said and done, I would like to go into the chat wall. And now it's time I want to ask you, what do you think about Star Wars Visions Volume 2? What did you think about this trailer in particular? Are you all excited to see what they have in store? Which animation studio are you the most excited to go and check out? Or are there some that you might be a little more iffy on? Let me know what you think on all this. All right, let's see. Not gonna lie, I'm now truly hyped to see Star Wars Visions Volume 2. I'm curious to see animation styles of every short from 9 countries. The CG animated short about Indian Star Wars by animation studio in India, 88 Pictures, looks like an interesting concept. I'm looking forward to this much more than other Star Wars projects. By the way, I am sad no talk on Elemental trailer today. I mean, I do understand, but I mean, throughout the week, we've just been getting like so many major animation news. And I mean, I don't really want to go into ones that like are like older, like, you know, from like 2 weeks ago. Like, I know it's unfortunate, but maybe when the second trailer comes of Elemental, I'll go and talk about that one. So like maybe we could go and do that. You know, like I understand. Like I know like whenever I would need to go and take a break on Monday, like not have an episode, like, you know, I can't really play catch up, especially when there's a week when there's like a whole bunch of animation news like flooding at me. Even like today, there's been a bunch that came out. Let's see. The trailer looks really impressive. As someone who really enjoys the first volume of Star Wars Visions, this looks like it has a lot of potential. I'm so excited to see what Aardman and Cartoon Saloon will be about to bring to the table for Star Wars, and I really love how different animation studios are able to show their style and provide different styles. So overall, I'm very excited. All right, nice. Let's see. I'm gonna say this. Season 2 of Star Wars Visions is already a winner for me. We got Cartoon Saloon and Aardman doing Star Wars is already a fantastic idea in general. I just need it all. I just need it already, folks. I just think we need more stuff like this in the Star Wars universe. I think they are taking notes from Love, Death, and Robots, and it definitely shows. I'm ready. And yeah, absolutely. I think like really the big goal of Star Wars Visions is that Disney wants to have their own Love, Death, and Robots. And I think Star Wars Visions might actually fit the bill on that one, because so far, especially with what they're doing with Volume 2, like they're really leveling up to go and emphasize the different art styles of each different studio. Let's see now. What else do we have? I think I've already talked about that one. Let's see. With the first volume of Visions having only Japanese animation studios involved, it's pretty great to not just see so many animation studios from around the world getting involved in this, but even each of them will tell their story with their own style. I'm hard pressed to choose which of these is currently my favorite. I would probably pick the one made by Cartoon Saloon. Ooh, that is a good question. Like, if I would pick a favorite for me, it's hard to say, honestly, but honestly, for now, I'm gonna go with the Aardman one because of how goofy it is, because of how it's so different. Like, you see all the other segments that they take themselves so seriously, and then you got Aardman coming in with like these silly little British Star Wars characters. Like, honestly, that's the one that for me, it stands out the most and probably my favorite because of like how unserious they're kind of taking themselves in. And I think Star Wars needs more of that. You know, we need more comedy in Star Wars. Oh, let's see now. What else do we have? I really like the variety in Star Wars Visions Volume 2. I like how they presented different stories in animation that the trailers have shown me. And I know I could tell it was Aardman in Cartoon Saloon easily. While others like Studio MIR and Triggerfish were intriguing. So other than that, I can't wait to see what they have in store for the next month. Curious though, will they bring American studios for Volume 3? Oh, let's see. I mean, for now, we will have to wait and see with what they'll do with Volume 3. First of all, like, we got to see how Volume 2 will go. Like, keep watching it so that we can have a Volume 3. But that would be interesting, like bring it, yeah, like have, have American animation studios. But I mean, it depends. They'll have to go with like the more independent ones, of course. But especially like not just American, but like North American. Why not bring in also like maybe a Mexican animation studio or even a Canadian animation studio as well? Like bring them into the table. So I don't know. We will see with what they can do. I think I'll go and read one more comment before we go into our final story. So well, this is good news. We can finally say that Star Wars is putting out some good media. Says The Force Awakens, Disney is not putting out good Star Wars media. Cartoon Saloon is the highlight of this whole thing. I'll definitely be checking this out, the shorts, with a drop on Disney Plus this year. Okay then, well, with that said, we do have one more story to go before we move on, before we go and cap this off. And this one, I guess you could say this is going to be the highlight of this episode, because this actually was announced a week ago exactly. And oh man, did the reactions that people got, it was quite insane. And this is it, folks. After our major trailer watches, it is now time we cap this off with the grand finale. And with this one, it's kind of funny because I remember when this was announced a week ago. Because I remember 1 week from 1 week before today, I recall that I was at Disney's Hollywood Studios. It was my second time being there during my trip, and it was actually a very nice time. It was a little more relaxing, of course, because we already did a good amount of the rides the first time around. But, you know, it was nice, like, getting back to the place, and we would go into rides such as Muppet Vision 3D, of course, and there was also Toy Story Mania, and we also did Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. So, honestly, it was more of a relaxing time where me and my mom, we would go and chill around Disney's Hollywood Studios, but overall, definitely a great moment. Oh, not to mention, like, we had a fantastic finale to our day, or a fantastic finale to our trip, where we would go and see not just Fantasia, but the two projection shows on the Chinese theater, like, Disney's homage to live action movies and their homage to animated films. That was honestly one of the best surprises that we've had during our trip. But I remember on that day that there was one announcement that made people freak out in terms of what Disney has done. You know, it was a pretty awkward time because, like, I was at Disney and then I was watching Disney news just like suddenly get announced. And I remember I was like, I think I was scrolling through Facebook and I saw it was like something that was literally just announced. But instead of me saying what it is, I think I'm going to allow Dwayne Johnson himself to say what that announcement was. So, Dwayne, take it away.
Aloha, everyone from beautiful Hawaii. We are so excited and happy to announce that a live-action reimagining of Moana is in the works.
Yes, that is indeed the big announcement that Disney has made. And I thought that maybe it was like some kind of like late April Fool's joke, but no. Suddenly we see more and more articles that come out saying that it is indeed true that Disney is making a live action remake of Moana. And to go into a bit of specifics about what is the current status of this live action remake, I'm going to read you this paragraph here from my source on Variety. As it states, the 2016 animated feature was a hit for Disney, making over $680 million at the box office. The new film will be produced by Dwayne Johnson, Danny Garcia, and Hiriam Garcia through their 7 Bucks Productions and Beau Flynn via Flynn Pictures Co. Executive producers include Ali Cravalho, the voice of Moana in the original film, and Scott Sheldon of Flynn Pictures Co. Jared Bush and Samoan industry leader Dana Ledoux Miller will also take part of the production. And one thing to go and note is that Jared Bush, who was the writer of Moana, is going to be returning, and apparently he shall be penning the script of this movie. And there have been rumors going around that apparently Dwayne Johnson and Ali Cravalho will also be reprising their roles for the movie, where Cravalho will be Moana and Dwayne Johnson will be Maui. But from the official sources where they would go and announce this, there's nothing that actually states that they will be back in their roles. So far, it has been confirmed that they will be producers, but we don't know if they're going to be amongst the cast as well. I mean, it is likely, but so far, that's all we know, is that apparently Disney will be planning to go and make a live-action remake of Moana. And for me, honestly, I look at this and I'm like, are you guys serious? You're going to make a live-action remake of a movie that's not even 10 years old? Like, okay, it's one thing to go into the classics, you know, to go and make a film adaptation of something like The Little Mermaid or Peter Pan or Pinocchio. Like, okay, I kind of get that because you also want to go and capture that nostalgia aspect. But Moana was released back in 2016. And it's like, we're starting 2023. So it's like, give or take 6 years, Moana is just give or take 6 years old, or maybe 6.5. Like, is it really, is it at that point where now it's old enough to suddenly get a live action remake? I feel like it's kind of unheard of that a movie that fresh is now suddenly going to go and get its own live action remake, or just a remake in general. In fact, if you think about it, like, if you're going to go and include the rule that, oh, now like any animated film, including the new ones, can go and get a remake, it's not just like the ones from the Disney Renaissance or even from the Walt Disney classics. Like, now even the new ones can get remade. Now, you would think that Frozen would be the top priority, considering that Frozen is one of Disney's biggest franchises. Like, they would go and immediately make a Frozen remake, like, right then and there. But no, I guess they suddenly decided they're going to go and do Moana. And I know, like, I think it is safe to say that, I wouldn't say completely unanimous, but most people seem to be rather upset about hearing the news. And don't even get me started with how Shafrillis feels, because I know the dude loves Moana. Like, he has definitely a personal connection, and not to mention, like, there is Tamatoa that is like literally his icon, his profile picture on YouTube. But hey, who knows? Maybe in the future he'll have to go and replace that with the live action version. That's going to be this disgusting, realistic crab monster that has to be a part of his profile. Oh boy. But honestly, in my opinion, I find it to be so ridiculous, because technically, like, even if it is just rumors that Dwayne Johnson and Ali Cravalho are going to star in the picture, technically they could still go and do it. Like, they could technically star in the film and, like, it would be the same. And that, I feel like it really adds on to the pointlessness. I mean, if you are going to be bringing Dwayne Johnson and Ali Carvalho, and you're bringing in like people from the original film like Jared Bush to go and write it, if you're just going to be literally remaking the movie with the same people, then what's the point of remaking it when I could just go and watch the original film? Like, why would I need a remake when, like, I literally have Moana right over here in my hands that I could just go and watch it? Like, you're just going to do the same thing. So why even waste your time creating the exact same thing when you've already did this right here? I mean, like, sure, there can be some exceptions that I can accept in terms of a live action Moana. Like, if you want to go and make a Moana Broadway show, that's definitely acceptable because you're adapting it into a completely different medium. Or even if you want to try something new with Moana at the parks, I'm definitely down for that. I've seen some amazing things with what Disney has done with Moana, whether it be through the projection shows like in the nighttime show at the Magic Kingdom, or even in Hollywood Studios, or even like with how they included Moana in Fantasmic. Like, that was undeniably awesome. Yeah, if you want to bring Moana to the theme parks, or you want to bring her to Broadway, then that's an okay, you know, that's perfectly fine to have Moana come to live action for that. But what you're doing here is that you're turning a movie into a movie, which honestly makes no freaking sense, especially when you're bringing back the original people to do the same thing like what they did before. It's honestly ridiculous. So honestly, the big question about all this is why? Why is Disney even allowing this to happen? Why is it that now they want to do a live action remake of a recent film that they have done? And honestly, I think I think I could pinpoint to exactly why. And I mean, this is just a theory and I could totally be wrong on this, but I think I know why that Disney would go and make this exception. Like, yeah, maybe some people could say that making a remake of either Princess and the Frog or Rapunzel or Tangled, and Frozen or whatever, that would be way too early. But the reason why they would want to go and do this is simple. It's not because Disney wants to do it, but it's because this guy wants to do it. Dwayne Johnson. He's the reason why this is happening. And why am I pinpointing to Dwayne Johnson? It's because he's one of Hollywood's biggest actors right now. He's one of the biggest stars in the entertainment industry and a very successful businessman as well. Now, I know recently Dwayne Johnson has a bit of a bad relationship in some corners of Hollywood, especially when it comes to Warner Brothers Discovery, in which they're very upset with the way that he was, some say that he was partly responsible in really crippling and destroying the current DC cinematic universe, especially with what happened with Black Adam and stuff like that. But he is still in good terms with plenty of other studios, including Disney. And so when Dwayne Johnson decided to step in and be like, hey, I want a live action remake of Moana, and I want to see Maui be back again, singing You're Welcome and stuff like that. For Disney, it's going to be hard to say no. And they figured, well, Dwayne Johnson is still massively profitable, so let's go and actually do that. Let's obey his wishes and go do it. And especially, like, he made it clear in this video presentation that Moana is a very personal project, especially with how Maui, especially with how the biggest inspiration for Maui is his own grandfather. So yeah, of course, Dwayne Johnson would have a very personal connection with Moana. So yeah, he'll definitely be excited to go and do this, and that he wants to go and be like, be highlighted and be represented in the Disney live action remake campus. And he has seen like the major success that these remakes have gotten, especially with films like The Lion King or Beauty and the Beast, or even like the hype that is going on with the live action remake of The Little Mermaid. He wants to get a piece of that too, so he wants to go and include his own contribution with his contribution that he has done in the world of Disney with Moana. Now, again, I could totally be wrong on that, but that's my feeling, honestly. I feel like it is because of Dwayne Johnson that we are getting this remake in general. So yeah, in my opinion, at least, I'm really not excited for this because of how this just feels so unnecessary. The fact that Moana is still considered one of Disney's newer movies, the fact that, again, they're bringing in the same people to go and make the movie. I mean, like, technically some could say that Jared Bush coming back to write the script is a positive. And I mean, yeah, he is a great, he definitely is a great, he's a great filmmaker, a great writer. But honestly, he's back doing the exact same thing. He's not giving us anything new. He's just repeating what he had done years ago. And that's the part where I personally don't really feel that excited because, like, honestly, out of all the Disney live action remakes, this could possibly be the most pointless of them all. No one asked for a live action remake of Moana because, we're still letting Moana sink in to be a part of, like, the Disney family, to let Moana stand out and, like, have her place in Disney, to let her be, to let her stand out as a Disney princess and all that kind of stuff. So honestly, yeah, this is just, I'm honestly not looking forward to this at all. It's just, I just feel like it's an absolutely ridiculous idea. And in a way, I feel like we're at the point where the Disney live action remakes have pretty much jumped the shark right now, considering that, like, now they're almost fresh out of classic animated films to go and remake. And now they're going to go and be desperate to the point where now they're jumping into their, to their newer stuff. I mean, who knows? Hey, maybe next month we're going to have the announcement that they're going to do a live action remake of Strange World. That could happen. Who the fridge knows? Or maybe even or more likely a live action remake of Encanto. I mean, anything is possible at this point. It's just ridiculous, I just feel like now we're at the point where, like, now that they're remaking Moana, it's just really getting out of hand. All right, so with that said and done, though, I would like to go into the chat wall and I would like to have your opinion here. And I would like to know, what do you think of the idea of a live action remake of Moana? Do you think this is a pretty good idea? Do you think it's a good idea? Do you think it's a bad idea? I want to know what you think on this. Let's see. The announcement honestly made me furious. The fact that we are getting a remake of Moana, which is less than 10 years old, and it just feels flat out insulting. So overall, I am not excited for this at all. And honestly, I feel Dwayne Johnson only wants to do this as a backup plan after Black Adam failed. And it kind of proves that he has a massive ego. Yeah, I mean, there is no, I don't think there's any denying that there is a bit of ego in Dwayne Johnson, but I don't think it's really as a way to, like, make things up for what didn't work with Black Adam. I mean, like, this is not, Black Adam wasn't the first time that Dwayne Johnson faced a box office flop. But still, though, it's just, honestly, you just look at this and all you can ask is, like, why? Speaking of which, by the way, let's see here. My question is, why? Why remaking a recent Disney animated film that is not even 10 years old? I love Moana just like a lot of people, and I even consider it one of my top 10 favorite Disney films of all time, and hearing this by Dwayne Johnson makes me feel upset and just shows that he is desperate after Black Adam's failure. I'd rather see him announce another Jumanji movie than this, as I heard the next one will be the last one, so where is that news? So yeah, this is a dumb decision overall. Honestly, I didn't even know there's going to be one more Jumanji movie, so I don't know. That's up to Sony to go and announce, and I mean, technically CinemaCon is going to be around the corner. I think that's going to be happening soon, so I don't know. I feel like we'll just have to wait and see on that one. Let's see. So I'm going to say this. I don't think this is actually a Disney decision. It's a Disney sign-off, but it sounds more like Johnson is making this a vanity project. Black Adam bomb, and I think Johnson really wants to stay popular, so he's doing this live-action remake. people have agreed Maui has been Johnson's best performance, and I think it is really ego based. Disney isn't making a Frozen remake because they still have Frozen 3 in the works, and they don't want to confuse people. Yeah, and I mean, I totally agree with you. Like, this doesn't feel like something that Disney really wants to do. I think this is something that Dwayne Johnson really wants to do, and Disney isn't at the moment where they are ready to say to Dwayne, no. I think that really is the case. Let's see now. Disney, I think you're pretty late with your April Fool's joke. Seriously, though, this might be one of the worst picks that Disney could have chosen to make a live-action remake. Most notably because Moana is way too recent to even give it a live-action treatment. This smells more like a vanity project that Dwayne wanted to do. I would like to say more, but I would probably be banned from Twitch for 255 years from all of the foul language. Yeah, I completely understand about that. I think I'm gonna go read one more comment before we go and cap this off. So, first, there's going to be a live-action animation hybrid of the Aristocats. That, yes, it will be directed by Questlove. And now there's going to be a live-action remake of Moana. That's not even 10 years old. That's insane and pointless. And I agree with you that what you said, Matt, they're just turning a movie into a movie. It makes no sense. I'm not going to watch a movie because it feels unnecessary. The Rock must be really desperate. Disney, could you make any more live-action Could you not make any more live-action remakes for 5 minutes? Yeah, oh boy. Yeah, I can pretty much see, at least in this chat, that people are really not excited for this remake. And with that said, that should do it for today's episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. Man, it's great to be back here, folks, and I can't wait for more episodes to come in the future because, oh boy, if this week has been crazy, man, I don't know how it's going to be in the next time, but I'm sure there's going to be more wild stories that we are going to talk about. So with that said, I would like to go and say, don't forget to go and subscribe to me on my Twitch channel and on my YouTube channel, AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast, and on Twitch, it's AniMat Live. And also, don't forget to go and follow me on whatever podcast service you're listening to, whether it be on Google Play, Amazon, Spotify, iTunes, and many, many more. But with all that said and done, I would like to go and say thank you all so much for listening. Thank you all so much for watching. And thank you all for joining me on this. And until next time, see you later, dudes.